aviation adventure hardcover novels for boys in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s and 50s. Hi, I'm Gary Levisi, and we're going to look at some of these books now. These are hardcover books. They were published in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. They take into consideration stories about World War I flyers against the Germans, and then in daring adventures during the 30s, and then in the 40s, World War II against the Japanese and against the Germans and Nazi pilots in World War II, with their stories for young adults or teenage boys in those days that would read these. They're wholesome adventure stories with heroes, American military heroes, and sometimes young kids that get involved with flying. They all have to do with aviation, and there's some really good stories and some good stuff. Also, what I like about them is not only reading them every once in a while, because I enjoy the stories. Basically, they have a juvenile hero, and then who gets involved with adults, and then there's like he's fighting either in World War I or in World War II as a flyer, and they're really good stories. But the cover art on these books is just great too. I just love the cover art. It has all aviation paintings, paintings of great planes that were used in World War I and World War II. And these were series that were written by various authors. Sometimes there were 5 or 10 books in a series. They were written by some of the people that, some names that you probably will notice, who wrote other more famous series, but they also wrote these aviation action adventure stories for teenage boys, and sometimes teenage girls. There's a few books in the series that where there's young women are also involved in this, and they're heroes. So we're going to take a look at them now. I'm just going to try to. Here's the spines. Take a look at some of the spines. So the spines had nice, generally had nice, little bit of artwork on them. Had nice design, and they look really great on the shelf. But it's the cover art that's really, really terrific. So what we're going to do is look at some of them now. I'm just going to show you a bunch. They're all different types, and very interesting group of books. And what I'm going to do is move these over. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see. One of the early ones, we're going to look at, a lot of these are Grosset and Dunlap. This is the Air Combat Stories for Boys series. It's a Ted Scott flying stories, and there's about 16 of these in this series. This one's not numbered, but it's Daredevils of the Air. Great cover art. World War I, fighting German planes. British plane fighting the Germans. And he's got 5 enemies after him. Eustace L. Adams wrote a series of books for Grosset and Dunlap, and Air Combat Stories. I have book number 5, 6, and 7 in that series. So number 5, and these were from. These are Grosset and Dunlap. He also Eustace Adams also wrote the Andy Lane series, and this is from 1935. Doom's Demons. Wings of the Navy is number 6. Grosset and Dunlap. War Wings is number 7, and that's from 1937. War Wings, number 7, from 1937. A lot of them have the numbers on the spine. Sometimes they're on the bottom. They're series. And you see on the title page, the opposite page, a lot of them have illustrations that are pretty nice. Another one, Andy Lane, The Flying Windmill, Eustace L. Adams, and this is one in his Andy Lane series. Okay. There is Hugh McAllister wrote for Southfield Publishing Company in around 1930, and he wrote A Viking of the Sky, and he wrote, this one's not such great condition, but this is also Southfield, and the books are numbered 3312 in this book. This one's pretty cool. It's Air Adventure series. It's A Flight of the Silver Ship, and it's a Zeppelin. So it's Zeppelins flying, which I kind of like. And you see on the back of these, books for boys and girls, and here they'll have different series, the West Point series, Annapolis, Battleship series, Thrilling Adventure. They also had the Bobbsey twins and things like that for younger children. But these are for like teenage boys who were interested in military action and adventure and in aviation. And these books have some great covers. Goldsmith was another publisher that this is from 1942, World War II. Wings for Victory by Roy J. Snell. Great cover art. An American, I guess it's a B-29 bomber, and they shot down an enemy plane. Parachutist. Books for boys and girls, boys and girls books. They had a lot of books in this series. This is Goldsmith Publishing in Chicago. So there were companies, Grosset and Dunlap, Southfield, and others that did a lot of these boys' adventure books. Don Winslow was actually a Navy pulp hero, and Face to Face with the Scorpion by Frank V. Martinek. This is one of the books in the Don Winslow series. And it has Aviation, Navy Aviation. One that I really like, Couples and Leon Company. This is from This is from 1943, during World War II, and it's Wings over Europe. And it's a, I guess a B-29 bomber bombing the Germans, and great cover art, beautiful cover art. And the inside, this is from 1943, they're illustrators by Captain John Waite, Wings over Europe. Nice illustration inside. Lucky Terrell was another series by Canfield Cook. There's at least 4 books in that series. And this one is Springboard to Tokyo. And it's from 1943. It's also a war book. It's by Grosset and Dunlap. It's number 5 in the Lucky Terrell Flying Story series. And Springboard to Tokyo. And here's an American plane shooting down a Japanese Zero, Mitsubishi Zero. And you can see they have the thrilling air combat stories. There's different series. Eustace Adams, who I mentioned before. There's at least 3 at this point in those books. There's 4 here, and books by by Al Avery, Yankee Flyer with the RAF. So there's like a Yankee Flyer in North Africa, in the Far East. There's 4 in that series, and then Lucky Terrell, which is this book here, there's at least 4. And these were Grosset and Dunlap. So it's a beautiful, beautiful artwork on these books with the planes. I really like these books. I like collecting them and reading them. This is from 1942 from the Hampton Publishing Company, Wings Over the World. And this is 9 aviation stories, edited by Leo Margulies. You may recognize that name. There's the inside illustration, frontispiece illustration. And it's from 1942, edited by Leo Margulies, Hampton Publishing Company, New York. And the 9 stories here. And let me just see. Robert Sidney Bowen, you recognize, Arch Whithouse, and other authors that were famous in the pulps writing air war stories. Ted Scott, Flying Stories by Franklin W. Dixon, The Lone Eagle of the Border. And this is, I can't make it out, maybe number 8 in this series. Franklin W. Dixon wrote other famous boys' stories. You recognize his name. Dangerous Deeds. This is a Salfield hardcover, and it's by Captain Frank Cobb, and this was from 1932. This Aviator series. This is number 3 in the series. Dangerous Deeds. Now I'm going to move these over and we'll look at some others. This one's not such great condition, but finding these with dust jackets is kind of cool. And The Vanishing Airliner, it's an Air Mystery series. And this is Salfield Books. Commando of the Clouds by Stuart M. Emery. This is a Leon and Couples book, and it's from 1943. And pilot parachuting out of his plane that's been blown up. Another Air Mystery series, The Haunted Hangar. This is a Salfield book by Van Powell from 1932. And you can see the Salfield, this series, used the same cover art basically on different books. So the titles were different, but the books in the series had the same cover art. 4 Aces is number 2 in the Air Combat Stories for Boys series by Grosset and Dunlap, and it's by Thomas Burtis. And this is from 1932. And it's 4 Aces, and it's again World War I planes. See the 4 planes here, and this is the title page in the frontispiece art. Aeroplanes were a big thing, and in the wars and in the time between the wars, and it was to be a flyer was almost like considered being like an astronaut in today's way of thinking. The next one is Barry Blake of the Flying Fortress by Gaylord Dubois. This is in the Fighters for Freedom series, a Whitman book, and it's a Whitman book from 1943, and here you have Barry Blake of the Flying Fortress. Beautiful Flying Fortress cover art. Terrific. And the spine. And a lot of these books had, like I showed you, the frontispiece illustration, but some of them that didn't. A lot of them had very nice illustrations on the inside and on the, probably on the back also, usually the same. But finding these with nice dust jackets is really tough, because kids collected these and read them, and they got a lot of wear and tear. Sparky Ames and Mary Mason of the Ferry Command was also Fighters for Freedom series by Whitman, and this was by Roy Snell. You recognize that name from before, earlier. That's 1943, and this is a girls' aviation book, Ferry Command. And again, here's the inside art. And it's World War II, it's 1943. Smilin' Jack and the Daredevil Girl Pilot, based on the famous comic strip by Zach Mosley. This is a Whitman book, and it's by Zach Mosley, Whitman 1942. And you see the kind of comic strip art, and then the plane in the background. Daring Wings by Graham M. Dean is a Goldsmith book. And this is from 1931, Goldsmith Publishing Company. And these are all given to teenage boys or young older boys for books to read, and they probably read them to death, but they loved them, and they're really cool. Goldsmith also, 1932, Young Eagles by Harris Patton is a World War I flying novel. The Tim Murphy series, which is a newspaper mystery series. He's a newspaper editor, and he goes out west, and it's kind of a western but with aeroplanes. And this one in the series, Circle 4 Patrol by Graham Dean from 1933. The Goldsmith Publishing Company, and this one has a plane with cowboys. So it's a World War I plane. Probably takes place in 1930s, so it's between the wars. And then there's a Viking of the Sky, Southfield, the Mystery and Adventure series by Hugh McAllister, and this one is from 1930. The Viking of the Sky. And here's the title page and the illustration. It's flying over the city. And this is from 1930, I believe. Yes, 1930. So there you have a look at some of the very popular and kind of increasingly harder to find boys' aviation hardcover novels that were very popular in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, with the 30s and 40s basically, that dealt with aviation and airplanes in World War I and in the time between the wars and in World War II. And they're great stories. They're inspiring stories for young adults. They have real heroes. They have good values, and they're just fun to read. They're actually really good stories and action adventure and fun. But I also love them because of the cover art. The cover showing all these old planes, beautiful, beautiful artwork, and it's an interesting group of books that you don't often see. And I just thought I'd share them with you today. Something a little different from paperbacks, something a little special. There are a lot of paperbacks that some of them reprint these books, and some of the paperbacks are from the 50s and 60s have a lot of air and aviation themes and aviation cover art, which we'll maybe get to in another video. But this one I just wanted to show these hardcovers. Because these are something that you really don't see. Every once in a while you might find one here or there, but to see a group of them like this, and if you enjoy this, let me know and we can do another one, because I have a few more of these that with really some great covers, Zeppelin covers and things, and it's really cool. Battles in the sky between different planes. Really, cover art is great on these. So if you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up and let us know, share it, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.